That school made the most sense. She wouldn't have to live far from home. She'd get a stellar education and spiritual guidance. And it'd be familiar. A grown-up version of her current private school. Safe. Predictable. Exceedingly proper. No one would have the gall to bring up her family history. There'd be no guys to worry about. She'd be able to focus on her studies. Growing up, she hadn't questioned her grandparents' plan for her. Of course she would go to Wainwright like her grandmother had. It would be a privilege, an honor. But when she'd taken a tour of the campus last year, ONeal had discovered that they didn't have a dedicated journalism program. She'd have to be an English major. Her heart had sunk at the news. An English degree could get her on the path to being a journalist. But the curriculum focused on reading the classics, not on digging up a story. They didn't even have a non-fiction class. And based on the pinched expression the lady leading the tour had given ONeal when she'd asked about a journalism program, she suspected that this woman thought journalism wasn't exactly a respectable profession for a graduate of Wainwright. Too nosy, too seedy, too impolite. Her grandparents weren't cheering on ONeal's choice of profession either. But they'd kept their opinions to veiled criticism. An English degree from Wainwright will give you so many options for careers. He'll change your mind so many times before you graduate. You'd make such a wonderful college professor. Or an historian. Journalists have to be so aggressive. And it can be dangerous. Aggressive. Dangerous. Literally the last words anyone would use to label ONeal. Smart. Focused. Quiet. Those were the words normally used to describe her. If people bothered describing her at all. She suspected that, if not for her mother being the subject of a regular rotation of cold case crime shows, no one would even spare her a second glance. She would just be that girl who regularly screws up the grading curve, or that girl whose grandparents won't even let her go to a school-sanctioned dance. ONeal checked the tree-lined street again. Even though Nana and Pop wouldn't be home for at least another hour or so, and then hustled up the front steps of the 2-story Georgian she'd lived in since she was 5, its flat brick front and rows of windows, somehow both welcoming and fortress-like. She unlocked the front door, turned off the house alarm, and grabbed a Coke from the fridge before heading upstairs to her room. Her heart was thumping in her ears, and sweat prickled her neck as she tossed her backpack onto the bed and locked her bedroom door behind her. The navy blue backpack sitting in the middle of her pale green quilt looked like a time bomb ready to go off, and she was suddenly afraid to take out her phone. She stalled, kicking off her penny loafers and shrugging out of her school blazer. How had she put herself in this position? The night she'd created that new email address and had filled out the online application seemed like a dream now, an out-of-body experience. She'd been riding a wave of self-righteous anger and had been feeling a way she'd never felt before. Reckless. Daring. It had been all his fault. She'd gone over to her best friend Maya's house to hang out, wanting to maximize the last 2 weeks of summer before senior year started. But